We will be beginning in a couple of minutes. During that time, we'll just wait for the others to join. So I think, yes, 2 more minutes and we'll start. Hi, and good day, everyone. So welcome to yet another webinar in our series of webinars that we have been holding since last week. As you know, that NAB was cancelled, so we thought we would take the opportunity to connect with you all, and I hope all of you are keeping safe. To introduce myself, I am Dipanshu, and I'm part of Interra's sales team. With me today, I'll be having Munish, who is the product expert and who will be taking you through the product demonstration as well as the presentation. The topics we will be covering today will be Orion Central Manager and Orion OTT, which is our solution for real-time OTT monitoring. Before we jump into the product presentation and demos, let me give you a very high-level interview of InterraSystems as a company and our industry-proven solutions. So our solutions address various needs at every stage of the content workflow, be it content preparation, delivery, or debugging. So we'll start with the content preparation stage, where for the VOD content, we have Baton, which is our file-based automated QC solution. It can be used for checking the quality of assets, for which it has exhaustive checks like for baseband, format, almost 100 audio-video quality checks, and dedicated ABR checks for the ABR content to pinpoint issues that can cause problems, later on in the workflow at the content delivery stage. Next, we have Orion and Orion OTT, which are real-time monitoring solutions for assurance of both live and VOD content. Both these solutions look at all aspects of streaming, including ABR manifests, closed captions, ad insertions, and both of these solutions are fully supported for cloud environments as well. In fact, all our solutions are cloud-ready. We have made significant enhancements in terms of scalability and other features, which we'll be covering in a short while from now. Next in the Orion family is the Orion Central Manager that provides a bird's eye view of the entire deployment in terms of the Orion and Orion OTT probes. It aggregates data from all the probes and presents it in a stage-wise manner. This is important from a root cause analysis perspective, as the the problems appearing at the end device level might have originated earlier in the workflow. So Orion Central Manager really helps with the fault isolation part. Next, we have our latest offerings, in which we utilize our artificial intelligence and machine learning based engines. Now, these solutions really help to automate certain tasks which are predominantly manual in the industry. So these have been developed to bring in the cost, effort, and time savings, especially when you consider the volume of content to be very high. First among these is lip sync. What it does is identify the audio-video out-of-sync errors. Let's say you have an active speaker on the screen, but the audio is either leading or lagging the video. So these are the kind of out-of-sync errors that lip sync can automatically identify. Next is captions, which can automate the basically generation of captions, QCing of captions, and later on reviewing and also the correction of captions. So that solution is dedicatedly for that purpose. Then the third product in our AI/ML based suite is Vino, which does the content classification. You can identify pieces of content which, let's say, have explicit scenes, strong language, violence, among other use cases which the solution covers. Now, these results can then be used by companies for further processing, like editing, etc. Next, we'll come to the debugging part, where we have Vega, which is an offline analysis and debugging tool. Now, it goes to the pixel level and helps you find out issues with video and audio. It supports all the popular industry formats which are prevalent in the industry, like HEVC, H.264, AV1 on the audio side, Dolby, and many others, including the ABR-related formats like MPEG-Dash, HLS, etc. I would like to say that video quality is very crucial to monetize content these days, and that's why it's a big differentiator in current times to drive customer satisfaction as well as retention. And that is the reason in all our products we have features that help you address quality-related issues. Next, we have a quick slide with some customer logos. So we could not fit all of them due to the space constraint, but as you can see, there are some really big names, and it's a healthy mix of broadcasters, telemedia companies, pure play OTT companies, and especially if we look at APAC. So again, a healthy mix from some well-known companies here. So I probably leave you to absorb this for a couple of seconds. Now, as a closing remark, again, I would like to reiterate that all the solutions that we covered in the previous slide are available on cloud as well. Now, I would like to hand it over to Manish for the product PPT and demo. During the course of this presentation, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them through the Q&A option, which you can see at the bottom of your screen, and I will try to take them all at the end after the demo is completed. So Manish, over to you.
Thanks, Devanshu. So hello friends, a warm welcome to the webinar. My name is Munish. Those who don't know me already, I work with InterraSystems in the application engineering team and help our customers based in APAC and Australia, New Zealand. In today's webinar, I will talk about monitoring of the ABR streams in the OTT workflows. I will start with the Orion Central Manager, give a quick overview of it, and then we'll discuss the Orion OTT in details and its use case in the ABR monitoring. The slide on the screen, it shows various monitoring points in the streaming media. Starting from the downlink, that is in head end, where the streams are in the form of transports, to the origin servers, edge servers of the CDN, where typically your content is available in the ABR formats and can be accessed by the HTTP links. Also, I'll quickly talk about the analytics from the end devices. Most of you could relate to this workflow. See, so when your content is in transport stream, over here, Orion does the monitoring of the available multicast, unicast, or even signals which are available in the SDI or ASI. And it performs a detailed quality of service and quality of experience monitoring. This ensures that there are no issues present in this stage. We will discuss more about this product in our upcoming webinar, which is scheduled on 20th of April. Post this, once these streams are available at the origin or in the CDN after packaging to the AVR formats, Orion OTT content monitoring probe can be deployed here to do the monitoring. Both quality of service and quality of experience is monitored here. This is something we will discuss in detail in today's demo. As stated earlier, we do partner with third-party vendors like Ubora and fetch the QoE related parameters from their database. The relevant module for this job in Orion OTT is called as EPM, End Device Performance Module. On a high level, it provides the information like overall happiness score, join time, buffer ratios, play failure ratios, and many more, which may affect the end user's experience. On top of it, we have something called as Orion Central Manager, which consolidates information from all these point probes. It provides an end-to-end view of all of these channels and helps you to view your monitoring from a single dashboard. OCM, it's a, again, software-based module which is available on the Linux platform. It provides near real-time updates for and also shows you live thumbnails for the confidence monitoring. It offers an intuitive user interface and has the ability to trigger alerts as and when a problem is detected at any stage in the workflow. Its UI also allows you to drill down to root cause of the problem and saves a lot of time when it comes to the troubleshooting. Also, it does the centralized management for your all probes which are deployed for the monitoring. I will walk you through its user interface and its features in a while. Let me now quickly introduce you to Orion OTT, which is topic of the day. It is also a software-based solution available in both Windows and Linux platforms. It can be deployed on physical, virtual, or cloud instances as a Docker as well. It does very detailed monitoring of your both live and VOD OTT assets. Broadly, it checks for the content availability, manifest validations. It does detailed HTTP checking like download failures, latency errors. It also monitors the start time, the segment durations, consistency, and many other checks. Even if your content is encrypted, it has the ability to integrate with your DRM technologies and fetch the decryption keys for the analysis of your assets. It supports all streaming package formats like HLS, MPEG-Dash, Smooth Streaming, Adobe SDS, and even the CMAF as well. It is well integrated with all the encryption technologies like CENC, AES 128, Sample AES, which are supported by all native DRMs like Google Widevine, Microsoft PlayReady, Apple FairPlay, Moreover, the specialized or multi-DRM like Verimatrix, Edito, they are also supported. By integration with the DRM, we mean Orion OTT can fetch the respective keys from the DRM for the decryption, and then the analysis can be performed. It has wide support for audio, video, and embedded data formats used in the streaming. It can monitor the monitor the OTT assets over HTTP, secure HTTP, and RTMP transmission protocols. As stated earlier, it performs very detailed quality of service and quality of experience monitoring by performing content integrity check, the download issues, audio video quality checks like black frame detection, freeze frame detection, checking for the over compression issues, audio loudness problems, audio silence, and many more. The product has been in the market for a couple of years now and has already been deployed at various customer sites. The current version of the latest version of this product, it has many new enhancements, and here we have listed some of the highlights. The first one is in terms of ad insertion monitoring. It enables users to monitor the ad markers like SCADI35 in your content. It does the detection of various audio artifacts like detection of noises in the audio as well. It has the ability to monitor the service availability. So on a scale of 0 to 100, it tells you in terms of percentage as well, like for how much percentage of time your services were available. We have also added support for the LDAP Active Directories. Option has also provided for a wall board mosaic viewing, and this can be used to present, the dashboard on a monitoring wall for the conference monitoring. The product is shipped with the default profiles for the lab and production use. From the system side, we have added the failover support for the monitoring. So even if one of your monitor, it goes down, automatically switching happens to the other monitor. And the system is capable of now logging all the activity for the audit trails. Next, you can see our technology partners that we integrate to. You can see, all popular names are already listed here, be it all the DRM technologies that we discussed earlier, be it the CMS like Aspera Orchestrator that publishes the content, that can also be integrated with Orion OTT, be it all the famous transcoders or the packager partners, the cloud platforms, and of course the NPOW for the end device analytics. So we already have the integration with all of these products. Now I will move on to the user interface of the product and walk you from there. Now, like our other products, Orion Central Manager and Orion OTT, these two have web-based UI. We have recently introduced the dock theme in these products, and these can be activated from the user interface itself, like I have done right now. Now, this has been done to improve the visibility and readability, considering requirements of knock guys who generally operate in low light rooms. The dashboard that you see here, it can be customizable. You can choose what dashlets you want to keep here or what dashlets you don't want to keep here. Those can be removed. So overall, if you see here, we have the availability histogram. It it shows you the status of the server availability that are for the services that are being monitored. So if you see here, 6 channels have the availability score of 100%, and one channel has less than 99%, and another one less than 95%. We have various other dashlets here that plot alert category against added channels. So if you see here, I have 4 channels which have priority issues like TR 101, 290. Then 2 channels having video issues in the MPEG 2. 2 channels in the problems having at the media level, and then at the HTTP level and the audio level. Similarly, these alert categories can be plotted against the alert duration, which tells you which errors persisted for how long, and accordingly you can take a call like what should be fixed first, and ideally you should not get too much errors here in the workflow. Looking at the other dashlets, here we have the worst performing channels based on the availability score and based on the quality score. So on both matrices, you can have dashlets, and you can monitor your channels over here. Next one is the channel alert status, where it shows you how many channels are being monitored in total, how many of those channels have outage or critical issues or major minor. We use these consistent color codes throughout our products, where red designates outage or supercritical problems, purple designates the critical issues, shades of yellow will tell you major minor problems. Whatever you see in green means it is good to go and there are no problems there. We also have a dashlet where we show these monitoring stages on the map. So if you see here, in my cases, some of my monitoring probes are deployed in Denver office, and the second probe, it is deployed in London office, and we can present it on a map view, so it gives us a clear indication like which which particular probe is problematic, where we are seeing any problems, and then we can drill down. And here we have the stage wise summary as well for the monitoring. So pre-transcode stage, this is my status for the errors, and the post-transcode, this is the status. And similarly, I'm getting inputs from the origin and edges as well. Okay. Next, I will move on to the live monitoring view, which provides us a mosaic view for the confidence monitoring. Here, if you see on the top, we have indicators corresponding to each section or stage. So for example, this is the indicator for pre-transcode. This is the indicator for post-transcode, indicator from the origin, and the edge. Based on the type of alerts that are detected, accordingly, these indicators change their color based on the color codes. At any point of time, to drill down, you can click here on the alert indicators itself, and you can go to the respective probes and see the more details of those particular errors. Other views that are available over here are the error view, or we call it as a penalty box as well. So it shows us list of only those channels which have got some problems. If you don't see any thumbnails here, it means all of your channels are running smooth and there are no glitches in between. Next, the location view. This is the same graphical view that we saw in our dashlet. So you basically configure that view over here. Here you can define like where your probes are deployed. The workflow view, it gives you an overall summary of your workflow stage wise. Like you can see pre-transcode, post-transcode, origin, and the edge stages over here. And at the bottom, you see the most erroneous channels for each stage. You have a high level summary here, like what is my availability score for that channel. Like in this case, I can see for this movies channel, my availability score is 95.98%, and my quality score is 89.88%. And again, all of these links are clickable. We can click here and see the actual problems that are detected for this probe, and you can further drill down to see the variants which are affected. It shows you the location, the exact stage like origin or post transcode, the exact time stamping. You can also view these errors on the timeline as well. Moving back to the list view. On further drill down, it takes us to the detailed view of a particular asset. So we'll come back to this later. Let's move back to the OCM view. The next here is the probe view, where we see list of all the probes which are actually feeding inputs to the ORION Central Manager. And you can see we have probes which are registered for the head end, for the origin, and the edge as well. Now let me click on the OTT probe for the origin and take you there. So each of these probes have their own customizable dashboard as well. You can see a high level summary here for the OTT probe, like how many VOD assets have been monitored, how many live assets have been monitored, and how many of those have outage or critical or major minor problems. Also, you can monitor the overall health of the system, like what is my CPU utilization and the RAM utilization. Let us now move to the ABR monitoring view. This is the assets view here. To register any asset, you simply click here on the plus icon. You can either register them manually, or you can import any CSV, or you can integrate using APIs. All you have to provide here is the content URL, which will be HTTP. You can also provide optional name and the content ID. But the content URL, this is the only mandatory field here. And once you register, you will see your content over here. Here you will have the content name, the URL you can see over here. We have the state, whether the monitoring has been done or it is yet to be monitored. The last run, if it was monitored, it will show you when was the monitoring done. You can schedule the monitoring with different priorities on a scale of 0 to 5. Then it shows you what is the format, whether it is HLS or MPEG-. Accordingly, it will show you the formats here. While the monitoring is going on, especially for the live services, you get a live quality of experience score here. Then these are the variant indicators. So depending upon how many variants or profiles you have, you will see that much number of variant indicators. you will see the information of the bit rate of the variant over here. Again, the same color codes are used to show whether those variants are good or they have major minor problems or some critical or outage issues. Overall alerts, they are further classified whether they are applicable to the manifest. So like if there are any problems with the manifest level, or there are any conformance issues at the manifest level or download issues with the manifest, those will be notified here. And all of these links that you see, these are clickable. Next is the segment. Here, all segment related problems are notified, be it synchronization of the segment, first frame is not IDR, there are issues with the downloading of the segments, problem with the resolutions or frame rate. So all those segment related problems will be notified here. Encryption, it will notify you any key download failures, key not compatible, and similar problems. The content alert indicator, it shows the all audio video quality related problems. So for example, audio silence is detected. You can drill down to those particular cases and see the exact timestamp where those problems have happened. In case there are any video problems, you can actually see the thumbnails of those problems. Also, as and when a problem is detected, you can also tune the system to record those segments for doing a offline analysis at a later point of time. And next section is the HTTP, where it monitors all the 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx responses, and it notifies you the same response. So for example, in my case, you can see some 404 response has been returned. So probably the content was not found over there. Next, total, it is basically a consolidated alert indicator for all the problems that you see. Now, this is a high level summary. Further, we can drill down by clicking or opening these alerts, these reports in a separate tab, and you can see a detailed overview. So let me open a couple of reports for you. Yeah, let me go into them one by one. Now, if you see at this report, now this asset, it has only two variants. The first one is the 5.6 Mbps and second one is 8.9 Mbps. Overall, if you see, we have the same alert indicators which are showing me whether the problems were there at the manifest or the segment level, encryption level, content level, or the HTTP. I can drill down by clicking here on the alert indicators, or I can actually see at the summary view over here. So if I see here, I can see there are some download failure problems that have happened. Let's click here and see what are those problems. So on clicking here, it took me to the timeline view where we can see download failure has happened for couple of segments over here, which are colored in the violet. We can further drill down and see the problem has happened for the segments with the URL as highlighted here. And the variant was 5.6 Mbps. And this is the timestamp. You can also choose to ignore the error So moving back, so this is one of the assets. Let's have a look at other assets. Yeah. Now this is an asset where we are seeing some problems in the timing, and it has multiple variants. So let's click here on the timing and see it on the timeline view. Let's click here and we can see the segment duration was supposed to be 10 seconds, and which is inconsistent. Let's click here and further drill down, and we can actually see this 2.8 Mbps for this bitrate. The segment duration is 3.77 seconds only. So if a switching happens over here, most probably the customer is gonna see some glitch on his end, and his experience is not going to be smooth. So if you see here, this is how you can debug your errors. On the left side, you can see the other problems that it monitors for, like it monitors your bitrate consistency. Like if the bitrate is varying too much, it will report you. It will check for the timings. It will check for the consistency in the first frames. Like if the first frame is not an IDR, it will report that as a problem. It will check for the content structure consistency to make sure like your PID numbers are not changing. Otherwise, the switching will not be smooth. Also, it checks the metadata mismatches if there are any. The sequence number consistencies is also checked here. In terms of download, it checks for the download failure and the download delays. Coming to the encryption, as we discussed earlier, it checks for the download failures, authorization failure, the decryption failures. In the content, as we discussed, it checked for the audio video quality issues, where it notifies you if the content has any freeze frames, any over compression or blockiness, or any black frame. Also, it checks for audio loudness and audio silence in the audio, in the corresponding audio. Like we discussed, all 3xx, 4xx, and 5xx HTTP responses are also monitored, and any errors are shown. It also does very detailed ad insertion monitoring. Let me take you to the let me open a asset where we have some ads and see how ads can be monitored. So this view is similar to what we already discussed, especially for the ad insertion monitoring. We have a tab here. So if we navigate here, here you can see all the queues for the out and the in time on the timeline. If I click here, you can see the corresponding thumbnails for the out point. Like this is the out point and this is the next thumbnail. So probably this is my first thumbnail of the snap of the advertisement, and this is the in point where my actual content, mainstream content, will resume. You can also see the timestamps for the out and the in for a particular variant. And this view shows me on a high level whether my ad markers are in sync or not. Let's go back now to the VOD view and see the profiles. Now, whatever checks I have shown you These can be configured in something called as a profile. So profile, basically it provides an interface where you have list of all the checks, and you basically uh, enable and disable your checks for the monitoring and specify your thresholds. Let me click on one of the profiles and show you how it can be done. As stated earlier, by default, this product, it comes with the profiles which can be used for your lab and operations. So over here in the profiles, you have various sections for the checks. MPEG dash and corresponding sets. Let's take an example of the video here. So in the video, if you see, we have checks here for video quality. Let's take an example of the black frame checks. And if on the right side, you can see the rules that we have defined. You can define multiple rules for the same check. Like in my case, I've said report black frames as a major if it occurs more than 30 seconds. Then if it persists for a lesser duration like 10 seconds, then minor. If it persists for more than 2 minutes, report it as critical. And if it further persists for more than 5 minutes, report it as a outage. Now in some of the cases where people they say we have intentionally introduced some black frames or a frozen frames, right? For taking care of such cases, we have introduced something called as combinational checks as well, where they can define a combination of freeze frame or black frame with the silence. So basically report an error only if my frame is or video is frozen and the corresponding audio is silence. So we have introduced these checks as well. Similarly, we have a list of other checks, and you can tune your checks as per your requirement. And to start with, like I said, we have some ready profiles which are available and shipped with the product by default. Next, I'll quickly talk about the monitoring templates that can be defined in the product. So here you define basically which particular monitoring profile has to be picked for the assets. And also you can define whether you want to do monitoring of the entire assets, or you can pick some partial assets. So by partial, I mean you can pick and choose, like maybe some lower bitrate assets, do only the sort of availability check for them. For bitrate ranging between maybe 500 Mbps to higher bitrates, do the decoding and the quality of experience checks over there. So this monitoring templates, it provides you this flexibility. Now let's go to the live channels monitoring for the AVR. So the monitoring view and the monitoring checks, all these functionalities are pretty much similar to what we have seen for the VOD. Here you will see the list of the channel name, and the status will be continue monitoring. Especially for the live, we have here a grid view as well, which gives you a mosaic view that can be presented on your monitoring wall. And also you see the live thumbnails over here. So here, similar to what we have seen earlier, you can You can also create a penalty box or a group of your error services here. So basically, you get to see list of only those channels which have got some problems. You can sort your channel thumbnails based on the alerts, based on the status, based on the names, and also associate some tags to them. Also, it does the monitoring of the RTMP feeds for both VOD and live. So if somebody is using the legacy feeds, RTMP feeds, those can also be monitored here. For entire monitoring that it does, it saves these reports in its database, and it offers the reports section where one can do a detailed analytics on the historical data. So let me take you there. So if you see here, I am in the ABR for the live channels. Here I can search for the errors based on some duration. I can pick up some alert sections, like I want to see alerts only for MPEG dash and HLS. We can pick up some severities as well, like show us only critical or outage. And accordingly, you will get to see the list of channels which have those problems. Like all critical problems have been listed here. All of these links are also clickable. So for example, in a particular channel, like let's take example of movies channel, there are some problems at the manifest. Now I can click here and further drill down and see like what are the problems. So mostly the problems over here, they are the service unavailability due to the manifest update failure. And if I see here on the variants, pretty much all variants are getting affected with this. I can further drill down by clicking here, and it shows me the exact variant name for that particular error and the asset name or the service name. You can also see the ABR service availability specific information over here. Now, this is a interface which specifically tells you about the service availability for all of your channels. So if I click here, it will basically sort the channels based on their availability score. So like this movies channel, its availability score is the lowest among the others. And if I see here, I have a quality score. Overall quality score for these channels is also very low, which is 80%. If I click here, it shows me how over a period of time over here shown on the graph, my quality score has varied. And the contributors are shown by hovering my mouse here. You can also change these granularities based on the minutes or hourly basis, and accordingly you can see how the score has changed in the past. Next, I have a recording section here. Like I said, for any problems that we detect or that we see, those can be recorded automatically, and all those recordings will be available over here as well. And next is the ad insertion, where we can basically see the last occurrence of the advertisement for a particular asset. You can also search it here based on the duration. You can specify some tags, or you can specify a group of assets for which you want to see the problems. If I click here on the occurrence, it will take me again to the asset specific view where I can see that particular service and how and where my ad markers have occurred. Specific to these ad markers, you can also monitor how frequent they are or how frequent they should be. So basically your ads, they should not be very frequent. You can specify checks for them. And if your what is the duration of your total each ad slot, like when you queue out and queue in, what is the total duration in between that? Those can also be monitored and specified in your test plan. And if there are any violations, accordingly you will see the errors. Now these are some of the highlights that I have covered from the OCM and the ORION OTT products. You can reach out to us if you need any further detailed one-to-one demos or you want to conduct any POC of these products. Now we can start our Q&A sessions. Please feel free to type in your questions or queries that you have regarding these products.
Thanks a lot, Manish, for the detailed session on both OCM and ORION OTT. So we have already gotten some questions, so we'll take them up one by one. I think the first question is about whether it's possible to filter the dashboard based on the penalties or errors, which I think you already covered. So yes, it's possible. In the view that Nish shared, it's possible to create filters, and you can filter out only the thumbnails which have certain errors or penalties. So as you can see on the screen right now, so this is the view that you can create using the filtering feature. Then there's a next question that does ORION OTT probes integrate with any NMS? And specifically for OCM, will that need any integration?
Yes, so ORION OTT and OCM both can be integrated to your network monitoring systems. They have support for APIs which are SOAP based and REST-based APIs which are available. You can also use SNMP traps for integrating to your NMS, and you can integrate both ORION OTT, which will send the monitoring information of your assets, and also you can integrate your OCM, which sends the information from a workflow point of view. So for example, for a particular channel, whether the error has occurred at the TS stage or the OTT stage or at a later stage, it will send you a overall workflow point of send an alert from a workflow point of view.
Sure. Thanks, Manish. And the next one is on scalability. So probably I can take that. That how does the solution scale in terms of monitoring? So how we license this solution is based on bandwidth. So we have to calculate. So there are certain sets of information that we need to calculate the total bandwidth which will be needed for monitoring. And regarding the scalability, you can add licenses as and when your bandwidth increases, and there's no limitation as such on the bandwidth that you can monitor. So it's quite scalable. Okay, we'll take the next question. I think it's regarding the database, that what database platform it uses.
Yeah, so we use Postgres database, which is open source and freeware, and it gets ships along with our installers only.
Sure. And the next question is regarding the support for CMAF formats. So yes, it's supported in ORION OTT, the CMAF format.
Yeah, so I'll quickly, I can show you some of the checks which are specifically for the CMAF only. So like you can see, these are the tags which are applicable to the CMAF, and these are already available in our product.
Okay, thank you. Then the next one is that can I test it? So yes, as Munish mentioned, it's available for POC. So you can reach out to us, or if you have the contact of any specific salesperson, and we can definitely help you with the POC. Okay, we have some more questions. I'll take the next one. Does ORION OTT shows indicator of the reason why the confidence dropped, whether it's QoE or QoS?
Yes, it does. So let me take you back. Let me pick up some assets which have problems. So for example, these are the assets and there are alert indicators. So here I am seeing there are some outage issues. So if I click here, you can drill down and actually see what are those problems, like service unavailable due to segment download failure. And you can further drill down to get more details, like which particular variant, what was the clock time. And like I said, in cases like where you see audio video quality issues and other, we do the recording as well, so that those recordings can be referred as a later point of time to do the debugging.
Okay, thank you. And I think there are a couple of questions regarding the support for RTMP, which I think you mentioned that it's there. If you want to spend a few seconds on that, we do support RTMP.
Yeah, so we do support RTMP feeds as well. And you can actually simply register your RTMP feeds over here, similar to how we have shown for the AVR feeds. In my this setup, I have not any RTMP feed available as of now. But similar to AVR feeds, you can register your RTMP feed, and similar sort of monitoring can be performed for your assets as RTMP assets as well.
Sure, thank you. Okay, and there's a question that, let's say if a particular asset has different variants with some being of lower bit rates and some of higher bit rates. So is it possible to skip monitoring for, let's say, QoE for some of the variants, maybe the lower ones?
Yes, it can be done. So we have specific monitoring templates wherein you can define all of such. So for example, I have opened one monitoring template. So here I have a monitoring mode. I can change it to partial asset, and I can define like default monitoring is decoding. Now for variant, for bitrate ranging from, you can define here. I can say, okay, don't no check, or do only existence check. So maybe from 0 to 500 kbps. Similarly, you can add other rules as well. You can choose which variants should be monitored for what type of checks, be it decoding checks, download only checks, existence checks, just manifest checking, or the no checks at all.
Okay, thank you. And I think there is one NMS question also on integration with data miners. So in addition to what Munish already explained regarding the integration with NMS, so yes, we do integrate with data miner already. So that integration is already available with us.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's almost time, but we can take a couple of questions more. So the next is, what type of hardware and platforms are supported?
Okay, so like I said, Orion OTT, this is available on both Windows and Linux platform. You can deploy it on either physical machines, virtual machines, or even cloud instances, be it Amazon, Azure. You can choose any cloud instance of your choice. Depending upon whether your content is available on cloud or origin is on cloud, or your content is available or origin is on prem, you can choose and deploy your probes accordingly. But it is very flexible depending upon whatever workflow, wherever your workflow is, it can be deployed in the same scenarios.
Thank you, Manish. So I guess we can take the last question now, which is on, sorry, just. Okay, it's on monitoring at edge. Is it possible? So yes, we do monitor at edge as well. And the second part of this question is that it's sort of a question was that do we consider monitoring QoE at edge necessary? So if you want to add on that.
Yeah, sure. I'll go to this part. So like you can see on the screen, you can deploy your Orion OTT content monitoring probe at the origin and the CDN edges as well. What we recommend normally to do both quality of experience and quality of service monitoring at the origin, and do only and skip QoE parameters at the edges, provided you are monitoring them at the origin. But if you are not doing at any monitoring at your origin and you are deploying your probe only at the edges, in such cases you should do the QoE monitoring at edge as well. So this is very a case specific. So whenever you are planning to deploy or do a POC, we can discuss this in detail depending upon your use case with you over calls or sessions.
Okay, thanks a lot, Manish, for answering the questions as well as for the session again. So I think we can wrap up now. As a closing remark, I would like to mention that yes, I think we have some more questions, but definitely we'll try to answer them, and we'll send out the answers to the questions that we have not been able to answer due to the time limitation. So you can anyway send us more queries if you have through email, and also, I think we are also left with a couple of webinars in the series. The next one is on Monday, and then we have for Vino and finally the Vega webinar. So there are 3 left. So please do attend those also. Thanks a lot for taking out time to attend today's webinar. Thank you and stay safe.
Thanks, Dipanshu. Thanks, guys, for attending that webinar.